Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Today I want to talk to you guys about 10 different fragrances that I think they need to make a clone of. They need to take these, put them in one of those tubes, like in a sci-fi movie, and fill it with liquid, and then just clone it. But you got to do it right, because otherwise you come out with something, it's like two heads, looks like something walking around in the glowing sea in Fallout. If you've played Fallout, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it ends up looking a little off. We don't want that. We want something that's smelling pristine, something that is just top notch. That's what we want here. I'll have each one of the non-clone, the originals, linked in the description in case you want to check them out. Also, you should check out my fragrances, Blue Ridge, Terra Nova, and Jet Black Enigma, and 2 more coming down the pipeline before too long. I mean, I don't know exactly when, but I'm working on them, okay? But these ones you can find in every Perfumania, every fragrance outlet in the United States. Stop in, give them a smell. Alternatively, you can order them online. Also link below, code GENTS, 20% off. Now with this list, I did want to keep in mind that the fragrances had to be something that would be financially viable for whoever would clone them. Because I could say just clone whatever, you know, just some crazy random stuff that nobody's heard of, and I could be like, oh yeah, clone that. But for a brand like Lattafa, Armaf, Afnan, etc., Rasasi, are they going to be able to make money off that? And if the answer is no, then realistically, they're probably never going to make a clone of that. Makes sense, right? So I kept that in mind. I also went primarily niche here because most of the fragrances that you want to see a clone of, typically it's going to be a niche fragrance, right? Because you're wanting to save money. That's the whole point of buying a clone. So if the clone costs 30 bucks, but you can buy the original from, you know, a discount or fragrance net, fragrance by Joma Shop for like 35 bucks, who cares about the clone at that point? And also, I did not include discontinued stuff. Otherwise, this entire list legitimately would just be discontinued stuff. That is the #1 thing that I want right now, is a clone house to step in and be like, yo, we are cloning and bringing back all the fragrances. Midnight in Paris is back. Gucci Forum is back. Gucci NV is back. Just everything is back. So I didn't do that because that would have been the entire list. All right, let's kick it off. Let's do it. One last thing. I swear we're gonna get started soon. It's just a second. I know that probably all of these do have clones out there from brands like Dua and Alexandria, because they have cloned stuff that probably doesn't even exist yet. They've got like 72,000 options. But truth be told, I have only ever smelled 2 Dua fragrances. One of them I did not like. The other I thought was good. And I smelled like 4 Alexandrias. 2 of those were good and 2 I didn't really like. And I'm not going to spend the amount of money that it would take to get a big old Dua Alexandria collection. So with that in mind, I'm talking like Afnan, Armaf, all those companies, right? That they need to clone these bad boys, because those are the ones that you can get from discounters on the low. Okay, finally, let's do it. Let's kick it with By Kilian's Black Phantom. I love Black Phantom. This stuff is absolutely amazing. Coffee, booze, chocolate. It's really strong off my skin, actually. I know that some people have said that they don't get great performance with it, but this stuff really projects strongly for me. I think it is just a killer fragrance for fall and winter time, especially during the evening. Absolutely adore the stuff. Presentation is beautiful. Just everything about this is top notch. Now, this wouldn't be anywhere near as big of a hit as something like the Angel Share clones, because everybody wanted to get their hands on those. But I think Black Phantom has enough cachet, and it's from a house that's well known enough that I think it would make sense to clone this and do it well. Because like I said, I'm looking for good clones here. I'm not looking for just some garbage. After that, Bleaker Street from Bond number 9. Bleaker Street, this is my jam right here. This is one of my favorite springtime niche fragrances. Blueberry, one of the main notes in here. It's got a real green grassiness when you first spray it on, which again makes it perfect for spring when everything is coming back to life. The grass is popping out of the ground once more. Yeah, give me that in bottled form, thank you. A little suede in here as it dries down as well. Now, Bond number 9 is a house that's maybe not super well known for being great buys, great bang for your buck. And they also are a house known for being a bit litigious. So there is that. 1000%. If a company wanted to clone this, you would not put it in a bottle that looks even remotely like this. I wouldn't even put it in a green bottle. On number 9, find out they're gonna come for you. They're gonna send their hitmen after you. But I really would enjoy a cheaper Bleaker Street. Now I know that there's Ralph Lauren's Purple label, which smells like Bleaker Street, and and came before Bleaker Street. But that one is also not cheap. That one is typically never discounted, and the times that I have seen it discounted, it's marked off all of like $5. Let's follow that one with Neo from Xerzhov. Not the most popular Xerzhov, but it is still yet a very popular Xerzhov. I know a lot of people would be like, nah, give me a Naxos clone. Give me a really high quality Naxos clone. But I really like the citrus in here. I love how fresh it is, how easygoing it is. Actually one of the best bergamot, citrusy green scents that you can buy. So if they could somehow get a clone that is close to how this one smells for a cheaper price, I would be all about that. Be a perfect spring and summer scent. Let's go Amouage up next, and it is Interlude Black Iris. Now there are a bunch of Interlude clones. You can find Amouage Interlude clones all over the place. They're a dime a dozen. Some of them are better than others, and some are actually very, very, very good. Which is one of those deals. I don't want to hear somebody out there saying, oh, you know, they couldn't make a Neo clone. They couldn't make a Black Phantom clone. Oh, yeah, they for sure could. And like I said, Interlude, that's been cloned, and it's been cloned very well. And if you're talking about the price point at retail, that's not a cheap niche fragrance. So I want Interlude Black Iris because I find this one to be more wearable than Interlude. It's more pleasant for me personally. I think the opening is easygoing compared to, anyway, the original Interlude. Still packs a wallop, still smells expensive, still has that incense that you expect from an Interlude scent. It's just a great flanker, and if you're gonna do another Interlude, make it Interlude Black Iris. We don't need like the 10th version of a clone of Interlude on the flanker. Let's go Mancera up next with Intense Cedrat Boisé. Now with Mancera, it gets a little bit tricky because Mancera is not really expensive at discounters. This is a niche brand that you don't have to pay too much to pick up. Intense Cedrat Boisé is a newer Mancera though, so it's typically more expensive. It's not as affordable as a lot of the others from the house. And I think Intense Cedrat Boisé is a little bit better than the original Cedrat Boisé. Not that that one's bad, because it's not. But interestingly enough, Cedrat Boisé itself doesn't really have many clones out there. And Intense Cedrat Boisé doesn't really have any. So this one, yeah. Give me a clone version of that. A sweet, woody, fruity fragrance that has great performance, that pulls a lot of compliments with huge versatility. Yeah. Tom Ford up next with Tobacco Oud. Now, Tom Ford clones, yeah. So Maison Alhambra, they had a whole bunch of Tom Ford clones. You know what I'm talking about, I'm sure, but I'll show you. Grab one here real quick. Like this one. Woody Oud. Obviously, you can see the similarity there. This is a clone of Oud Wood. Well, Maison Alhambra, they were told to knock it off, essentially. They were cloning things a bit too closely with the whole naming and bottling convention that they had going on. So those all got canned. And word is that they're gonna bring them back, but underneath different names, different bottles, potentially different formulas. But they're gonna start busting out some Tom Ford clones again at some point, assuming everything on their end goes to plan, I guess. Anytime stuff like this happens, you never really know. Case in point, and I'll make this quick, Notino. Well, originally Beauty Spin and then Notino. They were a huge discounter in the US. They still are a big discounter in Europe, but they got in trouble with Chanel. Selling marked down Chanel products. They were told to stop. They didn't. They got sued, and then they had to leave the US market. This was a while ago, a number of years ago. And at the time, their website said, oh, we'll be right back. You know, it's gonna be a couple months, no problem. That was not the case. And Notino still does not exist in the US. So, yeah. I say this to basically put out there, if you're gonna be cloning a Tom Ford, maybe don't make it look like a Tom Ford, or else they're gonna come for you in the night. But Tobacco Oud, this one, I would love a cheap clone of this. Pretty difficult to find, can be quite pricey. Oh man, one of my favorite Tom Fords ever. It's got booze, it's got tobacco, it's got oud, it's got warm spices, it's got everything you want. A little divisive, some people don't dig it, but I love this stuff. Let's go with a more designer style fragrance, L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum from, of course, Guerlain. This one has off and on been very difficult to find in the US, and then it will pop up at discounters for a while, and it's like, oh, okay, good, people can get it again, and then it goes away again. They changed the presentation on this one. I prefer the old style. Some people prefer this new style. It's got a great sweet cherry note in there that really draws people in, and of course the almond that the line is known for. And with how difficult it's been to find at times, Guerlain L'Homme Ideal, Eau de Parfum, and also Extreme, I think a clone of those could do really well. And let's do another designer here, Allure Homme Edition Blanche from Chanel. Edition Blanche. Known for smelling a bit like a lemon meringue pie or a lemon cream pie. This one is a wonderful summertime fragrance that's quite different from most other fresh summertime scents. And with it being a Chanel, pretty pricey as far as designers go, and it's one that, as I alluded to earlier, probably not going to find marked off too much. Now maybe you're treading tricky ground potentially when it comes to Chanel, but this is one that I wouldn't mind seeing a cheaper alternative to out there. Let's follow that up with Roger Parfum's Enigma Parfum, or Creation E, depending on where you live. Ooh, yeah. So rich and decadent and effervescent. It sparkles like a carbonated beverage right off the top. It also has booze in here, cognac, a bunch of spices. It's a Roger Parfum. So you look at the note breakdown, there's like 55 notes there. That's an exaggeration, but not much of one. Now, of course, this is quite pricey. The quality is very high, so I wouldn't expect a cheap clone to be able to get all that close to it. But I've been surprised before, and this one being one of my favorites from Roger Parfum, and a lot of people in the fragrance community's favorite as well. I think if you could pull off a clone of this and pull it off well, it could do really well. And the last fragrance is a Mancera Oud Lemon Mint. Now this one you can find cheaper than Intense Drapoise, so you'd have to be careful here. You don't want to get a clone that you're trying to sell for like 40 bucks or something, 50 bucks, because at that point, just get the Mancera. But this, I still think, is a wonderful release from the house. Different from pretty much anything else that they've done. The oud here is wearable. It's done in a more fresh way, but it does have quite a heavy sweetness to it as well. And because of that, even though the bottle is yellow and blue and looks like it'd be a perfect summertime, daytime scent, I lean more towards spring and fall with this one just because it does pack a punch. During summertime, spray this on really heavy. It's super hot outside and humid. You're gonna choke people out, including maybe yourself. But that mixture of lemon, that sweet fruit, and that woodiness as it dries down, I think it's just a killer fragrance. And that would be one I would love to see a clone of. I mean, when it comes to Mancera, it's mainly red tobacco that's gotten the clone treatment, but there are a lot of other fragrances from that house that tick all the boxes, just as far as what they do and what most people are looking for. Performance, versatility, compliment factor, and even a bit of a unique flair. Now, I want you guys also leave in the comments fragrances that you want clones of. They can be niche, designer, or even discontinued ones. Just let me know what you think would be a good match for a clone. Maybe some of these clone companies will see it, and maybe they'll do something about it. That would be sick. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.